Did you know that just 5 minutes of your prayer is powerful enough to dismantle all the plans and the attacks the enemy planned against you? In this video, I will be teaching you about the mysterious things that happens behind the scenes every time you get down on your knees to pray. After this, you will never joke around with your prayers. So without further ado, let's get into it. In the spiritual realms, prayers are one of the most effective weapons every believer has. But have you ever wondered why the devil hates your prayers so much? Well, you know, sometimes you underestimate the power of your prayers because you think your prayers are just words. In fact, you don't take your prayers seriously because you think prayers are just about talking or speaking to God. But let me tell you something you didn't know. If you knew what 5 minutes of your prayers does to the kingdom of darkness, you would never stop praying. If your prayers were not that powerful, the devil would never bother fighting you. But the reason he keeps attacking you is because your prayers are causing a lot of havoc and disruptions to his kingdom. The Bible tells us in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 4, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds." When you got chosen by God, He didn't just empower you to sit quietly. Many believers keep making the mistake of thinking that just because Jesus has defeated the enemy, they no longer have to do anything else. But this is wrong. The Bible never teaches us this. Jesus himself said, "I give you the power to trample upon serpents and scorpions, and upon all the powers of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." Notice that Jesus didn't just say he gives you power, but he said he gives you power to do something, to trample on the enemy. Trampling means walking upon something, which means work. When you trample on something, it means you are walking or stepping on it in a rough pattern in order to disrupt it. This means even though you've got enough power, you need to do something with that power. So being born again doesn't mean the devil will not attack you. It doesn't even mean you are exempt from facing spiritual attacks. No. Being born again simply puts you on a better platform to overcome the enemy. It gives you the authority to put the devil where he belongs. This is why Jesus said, "I give unto you power and authority to trample upon them." It is a huge mistake to fold your arms and assume that just because Christ died for you, you no longer need to pray. When it comes to spiritual warfare, there is no retreat, no surrender. You either fight or you lose. There is nobody on the surface of this earth who goes for a whole 24 hours without getting attacked by the enemy. Nobody, not even a newborn baby. If the devil is not attacking you, it means one of two things. Either you are too weak to the extent that he doesn't feel threatened by you, or you are already his slave. But as long as you are a genuine child of God, trust me, he will attack you. And this will continue right up to the very moment you take your last breath on earth. This is why he fights you day and night by causing distractions day to day to keep you from praying. Your angels are always on standby, ready waiting to go out for war. But the problem is, you are always silent. You don't talk, you don't pray, you don't do anything, you just sit there doing nothing. During your time of idleness, this is when the devil uses the opportunity to strike. So even though you have more than enough resources and power, your angels can't do anything without you praying, because a prayerless Christian is a powerless Christian. You can never be a threat to the enemy, so sometimes the devil won't bother you at all when he sees that you don't like praying. But every time you get down on your knees to pray, the kingdom of darkness trembles, because they don't know what havoc you are about to cause. You might be thinking you are just praying, but trust me, what your 5-minute prayers do to Satan and his kingdom is powerful enough to damage their work worth years of labor. But the problem is that they don't want you to know about this. They try to give you the impression that your prayers aren't effective, when in reality it's causing a lot of havoc. The devil is very proud, and despite the fact that your prayers are hurting him severely, he's too proud to admit it. Sometimes you might be praying for long, and it looks as though nothing is happening. I mean, think about it. When you kneel down to talk to God, the devil immediately knows he's in trouble. But the biggest problem is that you don't even know it. Let me give you a very practical example of how powerful your prayers can be. Let's say you live in a neighborhood where there are a lot of evil activities that go on. As long as you keep on praying, there are certain levels of evil that will never happen in that community. You might not know this, but that's the truth. Your presence and prayers alone in that area will dilute the power and forces of the enemy. So even when the devil plants traps and sets up attacks, your prayers will dismantle them. The reason is that it takes the devil a very long time to plan evil against people. Sometimes it can take him months, sometimes it can take him years. But as long as you are in that community and keep on praying, your prayers will always keep dismantling the forces of darkness and their evil plans. So what will the devil do? He will try to attack you either by making you prayerless or by stirring up persecution against you so that you get distracted. This way you will stop concentrating on your prayers. As soon as you stop praying, you have given the devil a holiday and some rest. In fact, let me tell you, every prayer you pray isn't even meant to be just for you. As someone who has become more spiritually advanced, you hold the power to bring freedom and deliverance to those who are still trapped in the clutches of darkness. While you, through the redemptive work of Christ, have been set free and have emerged as a spiritually advanced individual, there are others who remain blind and oblivious to the truth. They are ensnared in the devil's web of manipulation, their lives governed by his malevolent influence. This is where your role becomes pivotal. God, in his infinite wisdom, calls upon you to rise up and intercede on behalf of these individuals. He urges you to pray fervently, passionately, so that the principalities and forces of darkness may be compelled to release those who are blind and lost. The scriptures bear witness to this truth as they remind us that the God of this world has deliberately blinded the eyes of those who dwell upon the earth, preventing them from embracing the truth and the light. So let your prayers be a clarion call to the heavens, a plea for divine intervention in the lives of those who are still trapped in darkness. As you engage in this spiritual warfare, remember that every prayer you offer is a mighty weapon, capable of shattering the chains that bind the blind and setting them free. This concept isn't only applicable in your community, it is also applicable to your family too. There are certain things the enemy will never be able to do to your family as long as you are a part and parcel of that family. This is why sometimes when you go to your house or to your home place, there are certain things that cannot happen because the presence of God in you stops the plans of the enemy. This is why sometimes you might even be at work and you notice that your colleagues start persecuting you, or people start hating you for no obvious reason. The reason they are hating you is not because you are bad. It is because the presence of God in you is provoking the demons that are around your environment. So when you get to a certain place and you notice that people start disliking you unnecessarily, instead of complaining, what you should do is continue praying. That shows that there is something in you that you carry that is stirring the enemy in the wrong way. So always continue praying and fasting, but as for giving up, never do so, because the moment you give up, you've lost the battle. So if people hate you, or you start getting attacked, it's a clear sign that the enemy has seen the presence of God you carry. And this is why Jesus himself told you that you will be hated by all men for his namesake. Even if you go to a place and keep quiet, people might just dislike you because the presence of God in you is just too evident. The anointing of God in you is manifesting in a way that you could never have imagined. God might be using you as a gatekeeper for your family or community to set others free even without their knowledge. Your prayers are so powerful to the extent that it's making the devil insecure. So if you keep experiencing trials and tribulations from the enemy, don't give up. It only shows you are doing something for the kingdom. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. If you love our video, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel.